Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Hey, cool. Thanks for joining me. So we are live here on Instagram at 7:30 a.m. on Eastern Standard Time. And I'm also live on the Cognitive Fitness Coach YouTube channel right now at the same time. So there's some weird delays that may be happening, but hey, Kendall, how are you? So yeah, there may be some weird delays that are going to happen in this thing, but it's on your end it should be seamless, but on my end it's going to be kind of weird, I think. And I'm going to be sharing the questions on both platforms, actually on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. We're going on three right now simultaneously. But you won't see the questions, but I will. So I had a whole bunch of questions. Hey, how are you? Yeah, so I'm going to try to say hi to everybody that's coming in, but if I miss you, please don't take any offense. I'm certainly not doing that intentionally. So, anywho, anyone that doesn't know me, my name is Chris. I'm cognitivefitnesscoach.com. I do one-on-one coaching using meditation, breath work, cognitive restructuring, and other proven practices to help empower people make positive changes in their lives, find resilience, find peace, find joy, and start living the life that they wanted to live, you know? Um, so if you're interested in that, please check me out at cognitivefitnesscoach.com. And there's lots of information on there. There's blogs, there's podcasts. And then there's also a place where you can book a free consultation and you just want to, just rap with me, there's not going to be any cringy sales pitch or anything like that. Let's just talk. Let's see what's going on and let's see if maybe I can help you. Um, and so I'm kind of unpolished and I'm always authentic. And I'm going to be like, I mean, here I've put this live out and I want to talk about my experience with doing a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat in Lamphun, Thailand. And that happened. It just wrapped up over the weekend. And I wanted to go live and talk about the experience while it's still fresh. But I mean, this is my experience. This is how, hey, Will, this is my experience and this is how I saw things. And, if other people went and they saw things, they're probably going to see things differently than I did. But this is my experience with it. And when I share this as a story later on, I'll put links to the meditation center that I went to, so you can see what it was all about there from their perspective, that perspective. So the question I've gotten asked more than anything was, how was it? And it's difficult. It's really difficult to articulate how it was because it was just so much. I mean, I went for literally, it's like 11 and a half days total. So I'll just break down like how it went. I got there in the afternoon on Wednesday, I believe, and I checked in. I did some paperwork. I got my room. The first, and then I had to I had to turn off my phone and turn in my phone. I had to give him my passport. I had to give him my wallet. And that was a little anxiety provoking, but everything's okay. I put it in a locker and I locked it myself, and I had the key. And then one of the first things was like, they said everything would be labeled with my room. So my room number was like everything. And I was like, oh man, I like that. Like I like that type of organization. So like when I go to my room, everything is labeled with my room number. My key has my room number on it. When I go to the dining hall, there's a label where I sit with my room number. When I go to the meditation hall, there's a meditation cushion set up, and this is where you sit based on your room. And I was like, I like that type of organization. I'm a veteran of the United States military, so I'm used to that type of like, organization and such. Um, and then I had my luggage and I was like walking up the stairs and kind of like, oh boy, what did I get myself into? And my wife had dropped me off, and she said it. She was like, I feel like I'm like dropping you off at boot camp. And I was like, you know what? I feel like I'm going into boot camp. And so, excuse me, my daughter's screaming downstairs. I don't know if you could hear that. So, yeah, so I felt like I was going into boot camp. And then I was in a way, but I was going into like a Buddhist boot camp, right? So anywho, settle in, people start trickling in, there's guys coming in, there's girls coming in, blah, blah, blah. The guys and girls are separated. We don't intermix at all. And then she's still screaming for me. I'm sorry. It's the joys of having a family that love you so much they want to stick with you. So anywho, we get an orientation in the evening, and then once we get that orientation, they say, okay, at the end of the orientation, we're going into noble silence. And if you don't know what noble silence is, it means no talking. So no talking until noble silence is lifted some 10 days later. And also no like communication through like gesturing or like looking at each other or any of that type of stuff, no holding doors for each other, none of that type of stuff. It was to pretty much just, they wanted you to feel as though you were doing this thing in isolation. And when I thought about doing a 10-day silent meditation course, that was one of the first things that really like struck me as like, this is going to be really difficult, was the noble silence part. But in reality, the noble silence part was probably one of the easiest things. Because as I've told people, like they don't believe me. I think when I say it is like, but I have anxiety around socialization. Like it makes me anxious to socialize, and that's why I'm like sometimes, and I'm just going like crazy, right? It's because I have all this anxious energy inside me, and I'm like super excited. And sometimes that's why I say stupid things or whatever. And it's okay. So it took a lot of pressure off of like, hey, I don't have to worry about, well, what am I going to say to these people, because I'm not saying nothing to nobody. So that was nice. Anyway, after orientation, noble silence, the schedule is kind of given to you, but it's also like when you hear the bells. So bells go off around the entire meditation center, and then my thing was the bells would go off. I would walk to the place where I knew the schedule was posted, and then I would figure out what I'm supposed to be doing because of that bell went off. And normally the bells go off like 15 minutes before an event, like a group meditation, and then 5 minutes before an event for like a group meditation. So I'd always get in there between the first and the second bells. But anywho, that night, bells go off. I look at the schedule and they say, hey, it's at 8 p.m. group meditation. So I go to I should back up a little bit. We actually had, between the orientation and the group meditation, we had dinner. And dinner was, I loved it because I came in, I went to where my number was. There was a tray, there was my dishes, there was all my stuff, and I sat in my chair, and I went and got my food, and I sat back down and I ate. It was really good food, so I should say that. Vegetarian food, but it was delicious. It was really good. And I mean, it's Thai food, can't go wrong, right? And it was delicious. So then we went to the meditation hall. Very first meditation, 1 hour. So I've been meditating for, about a decade, and an hour to me, like that's a long meditation. Like I've few and far between, I do like 45-minute long meditations, but I'm usually like a 15, 20-minute meditation guy. Sometimes less, maybe 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 5 minutes if I'm have stuff going on, but an hour. So first thing, hour. And then we go to bed. Next morning, that's at 9 o'clock. I go to bed at 9 o'clock, and the accommodations, I mean, it's basic room, it's a very small bathroom, got a fan, no air conditioning. Do have hot water though. And it's Thai construction, it is what it is. But I can never get used to the beds. Like the mattress, dude. I think it was probably part of the kind of like part of the process is like the mattress was like hard as a rock. I could have just slept on the floor. It really would have made no difference. But anyhow, go to bed. Also in the room, I should say, is there was this a meditation cushion, and I could use that as well for my personal use outside of the group meditations. Go to bed. 4 a.m. hits, so we go to bed or release to rest at 9 p.m. 4 a.m. the bells go off, wake you up. You have from 4 till 4:30 to get to the meditation hall, because at 4:30 is 2 hours of meditation. So now you're looking at I've already done an hour, that was like, well, now I've done 2 hours. And I'm like, wow. I didn't think I could sit for 2 hours. And I sat for 2 hours. Then I go to breakfast. I'm going to back up a little bit too, because I want to back up and say, like, well, sitting, like, how were you to sit? And they really didn't give instructions on how to sit, but they said, sit. Like, you have to sit. You can't lay down to meditate. You can't stand up to meditate. For this course, we're sitting meditation and we're sitting indoors. And as I was explaining, the reason we're sitting indoors is so we can get more sensation of breath in our nose, more bodily sensations. So the way, like, it was like the first, like, probably the first 4 to 5 days, we're literally like trying to figure out the best way to sit, because it was really painful, to sit for that long. I mean, there's just no way of getting around it, You sit for 2 hours, it's going to be painful. So people were devising all different ways of like putting together their cushions and piling things up, and it reminded me of like the Princess and the Pea, where like my stuff was like, dude, it was piled up. I literally had like 4 meditation cushions, small cushions on top of each other, and it got to the point where I was sitting on it one time, and I remember it fell forward. I almost fell on the person in front of me. But hey, Erasmus, and so. Many people did the classic like lotus, half lotus, full lotus. Some people sat with their feet in front of them. But it was like specifically said, like, hey, don't put your feet toward the teachers, like especially the bottom of your feet. It's considered really disrespectful. Even when the teachers aren't in the meditation hall, you won't be putting you won't be putting your feet toward the teachers. And then I did a posture, a meditation, sitting posture that I'd never done before, but I saw the guy next to me. It was like I glanced over a little bit, even though I wasn't supposed to be looking at people. I did. And I saw the way he was sitting, and he was sitting like he was like straddling a horse. Like his knees were bent and his feet were behind him, and he was sitting like kind of like it was like a horse rider sitting. So I tried that, and it seemed to be better than other ways, because other ways I was sitting, like my butt would really get really, really sore. My hips would get really sore. But that posture tend to be the less pain of all of them. I apologize to people that are watching the live stream on YouTube, because my camera for my phone is up here and the camera for my computer is down here. So you probably feel as though I'm talking over you. I'm sorry, that's not intentional. So where was I? Oh, sitting posture. So yeah, but anyway, that we went to breakfast. After breakfast, we got a little break, about an hour of rest, and I went right to my bed and laid down, I think, and took a little nappy nap. And then right after that, again, 1 hour of group meditation. After the group meditation, it was either go back to your room or stay in the meditation hall for another 2 hours of meditation. After the 2 hours of meditation, it was, I think it was lunch. And then after lunch, it was like another hour and a half of meditation, then a group meditation, then an hour and a half of meditation on your own. Then it was a dinner break, which was for the new students. They gave us some fruit and tea. For the old students, they just got tea. So if you're an old student, you don't eat after noon. You don't eat in the afternoon after lunch. So since that came up, let me just tell you why that's so. It's part of the precepts. There's 5 precepts that new students take on, which is no killing, no lying, no stealing, no sexual activity, and no intoxicants. All right. All pretty easy, right? You would think that the easiest one would be like no killing, but you don't realize like how often you kill things until you become conscious of it. Like the mosquito lands on you. You can't smack the mosquito at the meditation center. Okay. The ant gets on your plate. You can't smash it with a napkin. You can't kill anything. You can't cause any harm. So that was interesting. The rest of it, pretty easy. And then if you're an old student, you take on 3 more precepts. And those precepts are nothing to eat after in the afternoon. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Nothing to eat in the afternoon. No like adorning the body with jewelry and such, and no sensual pleasures. Those are combined into one precept. And then no lofty beds. And I couldn't help but think to myself, like, dude, if my bed as a new student is considered lofty, I don't know what these old students must be laying just on the floor, on a concrete floor, because my mattress was hard as a rock. Anyway, so lots of meditation, dinner break, and then a back into the meditation hall for another group meditation. After that group meditation, every night you would meet up again. After a short break, you meet up again for discourse, where the teacher, the original teacher, but the teacher that founded this Vipassana meditation thing that's going around the world, Goenka is his last name. He would give a discourse that would talk about the meditation practices, would talk about the Dharma, talk about why we're doing certain things, so on and so forth. And they were about an hour and a half long or so. And then when we would meet up again after that in the meditation hall for a short meditation, and then at 9 p.m., we would be told to rest. So if you add it all up, it's literally comes about 11 hours of meditation for 10 days. So that's like 110 hours of meditation. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you, is I did not do every meditation. I tried and I made it about a day and a half of doing like every single time they said the times to meditate, was meditating. But it's tough, man. It was really tough. It was really painful. And it was not just physically painful. It was mentally painful. You can't escape from some of the thought cycles I was getting into, and not that they were like traumatic or disturbing. It was just, I don't know. It was weird. Like I just didn't want to, I don't know. I started resisting the practice. I just was like, all right, that's enough. Like I can't keep doing this. So by the end of it, I was really like, I think like the last probably 2-3 days, I was doing like just the group meditations, which was 3 hours of meditation a day anyhow. But I didn't do them all. I would estimate I probably meditated 50 to 60 hours total over the course of 10 days. So the meditation, what were the meditations like? The meditation started with the breath, and it built upon the breath of like it built with your focus on the breath. So it was all about like just feeling the touch of the breath in your nose. And the instructions, the guidance, it was minimal. It was succinct, you'd say, but it was like, it didn't have a lot of fluff in it. But some of it was like so like just so simple that like my mind, like it craved more, like I need more. And that's part of the process. Like this process of Vipassana meditation is all about strengthening and purifying the mind and finding a way to free ourselves from the suffering. And where does my suffering come from? It's from craving, like craving more. I need more intellectual stimulation, or aversion of like, I don't like the pain so much. And, you know, now it wasn't like the pain and the sitting in the pain and such. It wasn't about torturing myself either. It was about strengthening my determination. It was more about my relationship to the pain. Was I able to meet the pain in a calm and equanimous mind? Was I able to like really, really observe the pain and figure out where's the center of it? Where does it go to? Is it changing? Is it fluctuating? And so on and so forth. So the pain became my teacher. The annoyances became my teacher. The itch on the tip of my nose was my teacher. And when I would be sitting, and going through the meditation, when itches and things like that came up, I would even say that in my head, be like, oh, the teacher has arrived. So back to how the meditations were. So the first 3 days were all about the breath. It was all about feeling the touch of the breath in the nose. And then by the second day, it was getting narrow and narrow of the focus and the subtle sensation of the breathing in the nose, to the point that it was like, just feel the breath on the very, very small part right here under the nostrils. And do that for about a day. And then the third day was all about just sensation in the triangle here of the nose. The sensation. What is the sensation that is present there? And feeling the sensations. And not feeling the breath, but feeling the sensations that are here. Maybe there's tingling, pulsing, vibrating, whatever it might be, just feeling the sensations. And that was all the breath part, breath meditation. It wasn't until day 4 that we actually got in what's considered Vipassana meditation. And Vipassana meditation is like a body scan type meditation. You've done body scans. It started with an hour of group meditation, then a little break. Then we came back, 2 hours of meditation, Vipassana meditation, introduction to Vipassana meditation. So it was a 2-hour body scan. It took us 2 hours to go through our body, piece by piece by piece, by part by part by part. That meditation, I thought it was going to kill me. Honest with you, man. That hurt so bad. I like day 4 was almost my breaking point. But I made it through, take a break, come back, another hour of meditation. And then I think we went to dinner after that. But that was day 4 was really tough. I could not find a way to sit that was not just extremely painful and uncomfortable. But I made it through that. And then I want to say on day 5, they introduced what they were calling sitting of strong determination, where once you sat and you got into your posture and the meditation began, the hour-long meditations, they encouraged you to not change position. To not, as I said, not open your legs, do not open your arms, do not open your eyes. And they would challenge you to sit for as long as you could in stillness and hold that posture with strong determination. And I remember repeating in my head, strong determination, strong determination, strong determination. But they also said, this isn't about torturing yourself. So if you're in extreme pain, an extreme discomfort, or you have an injury, or you have a sickness, then change position, right? Hey, John. And so change position. But if you change position 5 times in the last meditation, then the next time you do it, try to change position only 4 times. And so that's what I did. And it was good. I really liked it. I think it really, really helped me. Like between the sharpening, I could feel my focus sharpen the first 3 days, sharpening. And I even was like, I know I wasn't part of the meditation, but I was like, it's sometimes like just to stick with it when I could. These hour longs are pretty hard. I was like, imagining every time I stuck with the breath, like a knife, like getting sharper and sharper on the sharpening stone, because that's what I felt like. I felt like my mind was getting sharper and sharper and sharper. And then when we got to the strong determination sittings, and that was day 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we're doing these, lack of better term, body scan type meditations, if you're familiar with that, Vipassana meditation. This is where you really begin to get into craving and aversion. So, as I would say, with a calm and equanimous mind, we would sit and I would slowly go through my body from the top of my head to my forehead, all the way down to here, all the way down the back to the legs. And we did that for a full day, piece by piece, part by part, methodically, persistently, patiently, and meeting sensations with economy, an equanimous style of a sensation, just like any sensation. I don't crave pleasant sensations and push away unpleasant sensations. I meet all sensations equally. And the really painful and really like sensations that are like glaring in your face, they're just as important as the very subtle sensation. And the nose feeling of no sensation was just as important as the really strong sensations. So I know some of it, towards the end, I realized wasn't doing it like as the teacher was saying, like I was playing, as you would call, a sensation game, because I started to play with the sensations I was feeling, and and using it as some type of intellectual stimulation, which it's not. Like Vipassana meditation is not a game of intellectualizing. Is what I'm trying to say. Not like thinking about it. It's an experiential thing. It's experiencing it. It's experiencing what happens during the meditation. It's not like, well, I don't want to talk about it too much. Let's just do it, and you'll see. So some things, back to the breath, like some things I thought were cool was like, hey, if you're having a hard, because they wanted to get really subtle, soft breath, and then like it was helpful, like if you couldn't feel the breath, and you could deepen your breath, and just do that 3 times or so, and then go back to really subtle, soft breath, right? With the Vipassana bodily sensation stuff, I thought it was cool, and I still haven't looked it up, like why it's so. I'm sure there's some scientific explanation of why it's so, but if I couldn't feel like a sensation, like I can't feel like the part on the very top crown of my head, it said is take a breath in, hold it, and now draw your mind's attention to what you're trying to feel, and you may feel sensations there. And I don't know if that works for you, but I just did it just now, and it works. Like I feel the sensations there. And I'm like, I don't, I got to figure out how that works. I'll get back to you next week. So, but then I started playing with the sensations. So I was doing that, and I was like, oh, let's see how it feels on top of my head when I breathe in. Oh, what does it feel like when I breathe out? Oh, what does it feel like when I do this or that? So I was like playing a sensation game rather than just doing what I was supposed to be doing, which was meeting the sensations um, with a calm and equanimous mind and recognizing craving and aversion. And they said, like, when you can meet the sensations that way, like it get to the root of the impurities in your mind, and it can pull it out, cast it out. You don't have to deal with that anymore. So I thought that was interesting. Back to the breath. I talked about the breath too, and it goes along with the Vipassana. Is like, when your mind drifts, they talked about like just accept the present moment reality that your mind has drifted. And that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Like don't put any type of further suffering on it with frustration, or I had an expectation, or I'm so disappointed, or I'm so embarrassed, I'm ashamed that I can't stick with this, because my mind was all over the place. Periods of time, my mind was drifting for probably 30 minutes of the hour-long meditation. So, but anyway, hopefully that gives you an idea, and by day 10, And the afternoon of day 10 is when they lifted the noble silence, and then we were able to talk. And that was really nice. It was really nice to be able to talk to the people that you've been spending all this time with and meet them at a different level and feel like instantly connected with them, you know, because you've been going through this thing with them, even though you're supposed to be in solitude and, you know, isolation and not observe. I mean, obviously it's pretty difficult to hang out around 20 different dudes and not realize that there's 20 people around you. Um, but yeah, man, life changing, life like really, really good. Really, I'm really, really stoked I went through it, and I will definitely go again. I'm thinking this is going to be a once in a year process. So I'm going to share down here on this other thing here, and I'm running I'm running live on YouTube right now too, and I am sharing questions. So let's see. This question um, comes from somebody on Instagram, and it says, "What was your favorite part of the retreat? Least favorite, and is there any new ways you learned?" So I would say my favorite part of the retreat was meeting all of the people after they lifted the noble silence. And I think it was so cool was, and I know like generalizing people is wrong, but again, I had stories made up for like how each one of these people, like who they were and what their life was based on just like what I've seen, you know, of them, like noticed of them, you know? And then it was really cool that once they opened their mouths and I asked them where they were from and what they were doing and so on and so on, who they were, I was totally off. I thought that was really good. I like that. Like there was two guys there that they looked very similar, so I thought they were brothers. And then I noticed one of them was wearing a shirt from Australia, some surf shop. So I was like, oh, they're brothers and they're surfers from Australia. I was totally wrong. They weren't brothers. One was from Spain and one was from Russia. It couldn't be any more wrong. What was my least favorite? My least favorite part of it was, oh man, probably the bed. The bed was really hard. Any new ways you learned? So any new ways as far as any new ways of meditation? Yeah. Ways of just, you know, really, really simplifying and boiling down meditation, I think is good time to time. Um, and just I think the holding the breath to feel sensation, thought that was a new way too. Um, Good questions. Next question, same user. Can my phone be used? Can my phone be a useful tool in meditation? Yes. Yes, your phone can be a useful tool in meditation. The problem becomes, I think, for myself and many of us, is that um, it's kind of like it's a great tool, but it's kind of like, you know, the buffet at the casino is also really good. If that makes sense. It's kind of like you got to be careful with it because it leads to other things that, you know, that waste a lot of time and are completely mindless, you know, mindless scrolling and doom scrolling, or and just the addictive nature of it, you know. But yeah, I mean, there's great apps on the phones nowadays. Just using a timer on the phone, it's all good. Maybe a reminder on the phone, but you know, just as the next question from somebody, same person, how can I slowly break contact with my phone to have it more like a landline? Well, treat it like a landline. And I don't know if it's good to slowly break contact with it. Maybe it's something where you just put it away and you pick it up once a day and that's it. And when you leave the house, it stays in the house like a landline would. I mean, I don't know if you can tell by the color of my hair, but cell phones weren't always a thing. Like if someone wanted to get a hold of me and they called my house, A, if they called while someone else was on the phone, they got a busy signal. And then B, if they called the house and I wasn't there, they'd be like, Chris isn't here. Like, and then they'll say, do you know where he went? And that's it. Like, we didn't have 24-hour accessibility, and I don't think it's healthy to be accessible 24 hours. And people could argue that, well, it's you know maybe it's irresponsible and unsafe to not have a phone on you. What if something happened? Something really happened. There's probably other people around me that have a phone, and I'll figure it out. Like, I'll figure it out. The world is actually safer now than it's ever been. Um, so I mean, think about it. Go back 100 years. Would you want to live then? Probably not. You're living in the best age imaginable. This is the best time to be alive on Earth. You probably don't hear a lot of people say that, huh? Even the statistics, man. Look at it. 1984, it was a much more dangerous world than it is in 2024. I don't want to get on a tangent in that, but prove me wrong. So yeah, I think it's a matter of maybe taking a 5-day, 10-day detox from the phone, and then maybe introducing it back into your life in a perhaps a healthier angle if you feel like you have an unhealthy habit with your phone. And don't be afraid to plug it in on the charger on the nightstand and walk away. And like, don't keep it on you. Don't keep it around you. If you don't want to do something, it's like, if I didn't want to drink beer, I wouldn't keep beer in my fridge. So if I don't want to be on the phone so much, I'm not going to keep it in my pocket. I'm going to put it on the nightstand and in the other room on the other side of the house. So if I want it, it's a pain in the ass to get it. And then when I get it, I got to be intentional with its use. So hopefully that answers your questions. What are some methods to raw dog life during life itself? I like that, man. And I know you got that term raw dogging from the reel I put up when I talked about raw dogging life. And raw dogging to me is like pulling away stimulus and intellectual stimulation and such while doing something. So I think it starts with the phone is a way to start raw dogging life. But also, like, I don't know, part of me wants to say, like, you don't have to completely raw dog life, to be healthy. It's just be mindful. Be mindful of what you're doing. And I think it is healthy, though, every now and again to just get rid of all this stuff and get back to nature and sit and breathe and look around every now and again about how beautiful things are. So methods, I'm going to say this. Here's a method that I can certainly stand by, and it's called the stop method. So I would say every now and again during your day, stop. Which is that? Stop. Stop moving. Stop. Okay? Close your eyes if you can. Take is the T. Take 3 to 5 deep belly breaths. Okay? The O is for observe. Observe what your sensations are in your body. Observe what emotions are present. Observe what thoughts are present. And then proceed. Proceed mindfully. And look around. Look around at how beautiful the world is around you. Make that a mission. Find something beautiful every single day. At least 3 things that are absolutely amazing and beautiful in your world. And I know you can do it. I know it's there. And that might help you raw dog. Stop technique and look for the beautiful things. If you don't have 10 days to spare, when is the best time to meditate, morning or night? Shooter's choice. Morning and night are good to meditate. Do both if you can. But I would say for many people, morning is normally the best time. And before you indulge into anything else, like watching the news, checking the stocks, social media, whatever it might be, take the time to sit down and knock out 5-20 minutes of meditation. There's really no excuse. There's so much meditation stuff out there, resources out there. And for me, I advise folks normally to start with mindfulness meditation to get your focus and awareness down. And then from there, move on to any type of meditation that you're into, whether you want to do some visualization, maybe you want to do some mantras, maybe you want to do some loving kindness, appreciative joy, gratitude, whatever it might be. There's so much meditations out there that meditation is like a crescent wrench. It will fit just about any nut. So hopefully that helps you. But yeah, and I was serious too about the, like, hey, do it in the morning and at night. In the morning, maybe do a mindfulness breath meditation, and then at night, maybe do a nice body scan meditation, letting go of tension and such to prepare yourself for sleep. Sasha asks, what's your biggest takeaway and how is your mind and body feeling? My biggest takeaway. That's a good question. I would say kind of like my biggest takeaway is that it's really beneficial to strip ourselves down raw and take away all of this exterior bullshit and just sit and be present with our breath, with our body, with ourselves, with our mind every now and again. And how is my mind and body feeling? Well, my body was quite sore, beat up, stiff for sure. And then my mind though was probably for the first 2-3 days, and maybe I am right now a little loopy, but I just felt kind of dreamlike and surreal, really like surreal and sometimes overwhelmed by stimulus, going from no stimulus to more stimulus, much more stimulus with everyday life. But overall, I feel pretty good. So thanks for asking. Great questions, y'all. Let's see. Can I find the other document? Hold on. Sorry, I have more questions here somewhere. Bear with me. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Get back to here and share this. So these are some questions that came from, again, somebody on Instagram. So Leanne asked, if you can't write or journal, which I couldn't, so I should say that too. There's another one of the rules was no journaling, no reading, no exercise, like no yoga, no chanting, no rituals or rites that you did, none of that stuff. Like they wanted to you just be doing Vipassana meditation while you're there. So if you can't write or journal, how do you reflect on the new awareness you receive? Um, I don't know. It wasn't much about awareness, in a way. It was like just about, as I say, is like meeting sensations without craving or aversion. Did you go to dark or painful memories or situations? Did your mind really go there, or was it a focus? I never intentionally tried to think about any traumatic experiences. My mind drifted, but not to any major traumas or anything in my life. My mind drifted memories some, but my mind really drifted more into this fantasy future world where I was making all these big plans about things. And that was a time where I wish I had a pencil and paper, because I would have wrote down some of my thoughts after that. Was what new awareness about yourself, values, things you want to do, or clarity you received? Yeah, it's just the awareness of my mind is undisciplined, and I crave, and I have aversions, and I create a lot of my own suffering. Yeah. Were you given guidelines, themes, or topics for meditation? So it's a good question. No, I mean, the guidelines were very simple. The first 3 days were all about the breath, very succinct, very clear, very repetitive type instructions. And then the last 7 days were all about the sensations of the body. So, when and how did you feel sick of meditating and struggled to push through? Yeah, I definitely felt sick of meditating and resisted some the meditation, and I pushed through the best I could. Um, by the end, like I said earlier, is like I think I was doing only 3 hours of meditation a day, but I did that the best I could. Like I was really sitting with strong determination for those sittings. Um, yeah, I gave myself some grace. I was like, I'm not gonna punish myself here. That's not what this is about. How did I do that? Like, how did I push through some of the stuff? Well, and it wasn't part of the meditation, but I would recite in my head strong determination, strong determination, strong determination, strong determination. And then if I actually had to, I would shift. I would shift positions and I would count that as, all right, that's one. And if I shifted positions again, that's two. If I shifted position, that's three. And the next time I meditated, I would say, hey, let's aim for only doing it twice. And also what counted was like, did I open my eyes and look at my watch, to see how much longer we had? And by the end, I wasn't doing any of that. I was just sitting, and I literally could tell. I could tell you how much longer I had to do by the amount of pain I was feeling in my right knee. I could tell you whether we were at 30 minutes or 45 minutes based on the pain in my right knee. So, what transformation or awareness did you gain from 10-day meditation? I don't really know. I can say a little bit of transformation in that I feel I have more focus and clarity, calmer, more grateful, and more curious about what meditation can do than I've ever been, and more curious about the Dharma and the three jewels of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and wanting to re-engage with that. I've lost connection with my Buddhist practices for a while, so I want to get back into it. Great questions. Was there any physical restrictions or rules? Yeah. I mean, physical restrictions were you couldn't leave the center. You also couldn't go over to the opposite sex's side, so we were segregated. You couldn't do any exercise. So, like, if I started jogging, they would have shut that down. If I started doing yoga or something, they would shut that down. They were at least let me do a little bit of stretching. I'd stretch every now and again, and you could walk out in the courtyard. And yeah, there was lots of rules. And the biggest rule that they really think would really hammer you on was noble silence if you were talking or communicating with other students. And that was to help calm the mind, is what they said. But also, they told us day 8 or 9, I think, was, and it made a lot of sense, was how it made a lot of sense once folks started talking, was how talking between students would have tainted each other's experiences, which was really true. Because once I heard people talking about their experience with meditation, the next time I meditated, I was like looking for that experience. Was I going to have that experience? Why am I not having that experience? That experience sounded really good, right? Things like that. So when you start sharing between students, it would have not been good. What physical challenges did you feel? Pain, yeah, a lot of pain, stiffness. Oh, then next question. Were you able to talk to people? No. Complete silence, and also no communicating through glancing, no looking at each other, no holding doors. Like, they wanted you to feel as though you were doing this in isolation, which is a challenge because I was there with 75 other people. And I'll say that too, 75 other people. And what surprised me was 75% of those people were girls. I don't know why that surprised me so much. There was like 60 girls and I think less than 20 guys. So roughly 75. What was your biggest mental challenge? Was it what day, 1 through 10, was it? My biggest challenge was day 4. Day 4, my body was still reeling from this thing that it was not used to, which was sitting still for so long. And then day 4, there was a basically a 4-hour meditation. So it was an hour, take a short break, 2-hour meditation, take a short break, and then an hour. And yeah, that really hurt. All right, cool. So those are all those questions. Other questions that came up from some folks in groups that I'm in. I'm in a running group, and someone asked me, "Do I think that this meditation practice would make me a better ultra runner?" Yes, yes, I do. Absolutely. As we know, anyone who runs these distances greater than marathons, normally in the mountains and such, is it takes a lot of determination to get through it. And I think the sittings of strong determination, where you don't move for an hour at a time, really helped build up that determination, and really is really helpful. And then also the focus that gets built up from the breath awareness would be really helpful. And then just the ability to meet things and not meet them with craving or aversion is also going to be super helpful. Like when that pain comes at mile 50 and you know it's coming, can we meet it objectively and not add suffering to it with, oh my God, it hurts so bad. Oh God. No, that's not going to be helpful. It's only going to stimulate our sympathetic nervous system even more and get us even further jacked up. So can we meet it and say, oh, welcome, come in, please have some tea. You know? And it's not about like detachment or going into this state of um, personalization and derealism, just like zoning out or whatever. It's zoning in more than anything. It's zoning in and then meeting that stuff without creating a aversion. Which, if you follow Buddhism, that's the root of our suffering. All right, cool. So I think I've answered all the questions. Anybody that's on the call have any additional questions they want to throw in the comments? Anybody still here? All right, cool. Let's see. What about down here? Is there anybody on YouTube? This question. Okay. I think so. All right, cool. Well, hopefully that was helpful. This is definitely my longest live at almost an hour. And yeah, and if you have any questions, anything that comes up, just let me know. When I share, again, I'll share this as a story. I'll put a link to the Dhamma Samanta Vipassana Center, meditation center that I went to in Lampung, Thailand, if you're interested in what it is. And you'll probably, I know, probably you'll get more out of looking through that website than what I said. I know I've missed some things. So, but yeah, overall, difficult, but worth it. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Again, I am Chris Norris, cognitive fitness coach. I'm a coach, I'm a veteran, I'm a social worker, I'm a husband, I'm a father of 2, and I like to run ultra marathons for fun. If you would like to hop on a call and shoot the breeze with me, I promise you, no cringy sales pitches, no pressure, all good, sabai. Go to www.cognitivefitnesscoach.com and hit the little button that says schedule time with me. and then we can hop on a Zoom call and say, what's up? All right. Peace. Be well. Bye, you.